Have you ever gone online looking for ways to improve your Dungeons & Dragons game? Either as a DM looking to overcome that plot obstacle that's rearing its ugly head, or maybe as a player looking for some way to motivate yourself, inspire yourself to make your character really stand out. Or are you someone who really enjoys listening to real play podcasts or watching real play videos? Reading D&D campaigns, really interested in the plot of it. But then you think to yourself, how do these experienced players come up with this stuff? What's going through their head when they come across a new monster or make some crazy role-playing choice? Or even how do they generate plot themselves? And these great experienced players seem to really make their own plot independent of the DM. How do they do that? Or maybe you're a brand new DM. You have a great idea for a campaign, but you really want some advice on how to make it run smoothly. How to get your players to come back to the table again and again, keep them excited, keep the campaign fresh. Or maybe you're a brand new player. You're interested in playing the game, your friends play, you've heard about it, but the whole concept of it seems very strange to you, very alien. You don't really understand what the game is really all about. Well, this podcast is for you. This is Green Phoenix RPG, a weekly Dungeons & Dragons podcast from both sides of the screen. I'm your host, Matt, and what we're going to be doing here week to week is looking at a campaign I ran from about 2012 to about 2017. And the way we're going to be doing that is actually with 3 different types of episodes. The first type of episode is going to be a narrative recap of the campaign itself, session to session. So we're going to talk about the characters that were introduced, the plot that happened, the events that were talked about in that session, really what happened narratively. The second type of episode is going to be a behind-the-screens episode with me, the Dungeon Master, talking about what I did to make this session. How did I plan for it? What mechanics were involved? How did I structure the narration? How did it connect to the overall plot of the campaign that lasted for 5 years? How did I make a storyline last that long? How did I work on the villains or the NPCs? How do I encourage character growth with the players? And then the third type of episode is going to be the player's point of view, or in front of the screen. We're going to talk to the players, get their thoughts in the sessions as well. What went through their head when these crazy things happened in the game. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how they really took the plot and threw it off the rails. Because your players, if you're a DM, are always going to make crazy choices that totally, I don't want to say ruin, because it's really the best part about Dungeons & Dragons, but really throw a monkey wrench in your plans, your plot. Make these elaborate plans either blow up in their face or blow up in the villain's face. That's really the best part about this game compared to any other game, is the collaboration between Dungeon Master and player, the fact that everything could go totally different. Because if the game runs the same way every single time, it gets dull, it gets boring. You want things to have a real level of chaos to them. It really, really helps. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the frustrations the players had, what went well for them, what kept them coming back to the table, and really as a DM, how I gave them that freedom of choice, really stayed flexible. Dungeons & Dragons, like I said, is a fantastic game. It's very important to me. I've been playing the game now for over 25 years, and some of my best friends were made playing this game. Our first player is going to be on Nate, who plays our first character in this game. He and I met in high school over 20 years ago. We played 2nd edition all through high school, and then we went to college together, joined a gaming group, and met a whole bunch of friends we're still friends with today. And in that gaming group, I met the love of my life, who became my wife just recently. Dungeons & Dragons has given me so much. And even growing up playing Dungeons & Dragons as a kid, it's great. It really helps with your vocabulary, your creative problem solving, teamwork building. The list goes on and on. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir for a lot of you. So this podcast is really a way for me to try to make this game accessible. Really help people improve their game, really show you specific real-world examples of successes and failures in a game, and really how to apply them to your game. I've done the same thing, like I talked about at the beginning of this podcast here. I've gone online looking for ways to improve my game as both a DM and as a player. I was a first-time DM once, first-time player once. I've done all of that. But something I always wished, if someone really said, this is the campaign we had, this is the problem we had, this is how we solved it. This is how it worked, this is how it didn't work, and this is how it impacted the game 8 sessions later. 6 months later. Because any solution, anything you interject into a campaign like that is going to have far-reaching consequences, far-reaching implications. But I want to hear about it. I also really want to hear about really behind the scenes, strip away all the stuff you're talking about and show me bare bones, this is how I did this campaign. This is how I motivated my players. This is why I did this. This is why I did this. This is really what I was trying to get across. So that's what we're going to be doing in this campaign, showing you specific examples from my point of view as a DM, how they impacted the players, and more importantly, talking to the players themselves, talking about the collaboration between me as a DM and them as players, making a fantastic game that lasted 5 years. So go to our website, greenphoenixrpg.com, take a look at the setting there. We have the characters up that will be in the first few episodes as well as bio for me and our first player, Nate, I mentioned. We're also going to have links to our YouTube channel, the podcast itself. You can find that on iTunes and Stitcher as well. We're going to have links to the Facebook page and our Twitter account. Also, you can email us at greenphoenixrpg@gmail.com. Shoot me a question or a comment, suggestion for a future show. We're going to talk about some general topics of D&D as well. I really want to talk about the effects of Dungeons & Dragons in popular culture. There was the satanic panic of the 1980s, which I'm sure a lot of you were alive during. Some of you have done reading on, and some of you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's a really fascinating topic that really shaped D&D all the way up to current, where Dungeons & Dragons is really becoming much more mainstream now with Stranger Things or Big Bang Theory. Like I said, this is going to be a weekly podcast. Our first episode is going to go up Monday, May 7th, and then every Monday after that. So I really hope that this is something that you guys really enjoy, something that's really going to help improve your game. And I really want to thank you for listening to this episode, and thank you in advance for listening to our future episodes as well. Make sure to subscribe to this video or this podcast so you don't miss any episodes going forward. And I just want to say one more time, thank you very much, and I'll see you on the other side.